Hello and welcome to Marketing Edge on TV, Nigeria's leading initiative in the business of brand management and the management of brand business. It is a 30-minute awesome package that comprises brand news, branding focus, and industry conversation, all in a mix encompassing thorough and in-depth analysis aimed at promoting the brand idea. I am Oluwabukola Omoni. Welcome to the program.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the brand idea.
We begin with brand news, where we bring you the latest development around brands and the field of marketing and advertising in Nigeria and around the world. The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations (NIPR) celebrated its diamond anniversary with the induction of 605 new members. President Dr. Ike Neliako emphasized the critical role of qualified professionals in representing organizations effectively and combating quackery in public relations. The ceremony, which held in Abuja, saw 353 members join online and 198 attend in person, mostly from the media sector. Dr. Neliako highlighted the importance of the induction in fostering collaboration between NIPR and the media to shape constructive public discourse. Minister of Information Alhaji Mohammed Malagi, represented by Voice of Nigeria Director General Mr. Baba Ndase, encouraged the new inductees to collaborate closely with the ministry to promote trust and positivity in national discussions. In a major development, radio ad spread has rebranded as Transmit, revolutionizing radio advertising in Nigeria. As the country's leading ad tech company, Transmit now allows advertisers to book ads seamlessly across over 200 radio stations. With its proprietary AI technology, Transmit offers real-time tracking and analytics, making radio campaigns more efficient and insightful. This user-friendly platform is accessible to both local and international advertisers, marking a significant leap forward in the industry. According to Femi Sire Ajayi, CEO of Transmit, the company is using innovation and tech to solve multiple problems in the advertising ecosystem, while making it easier for all the key players to grow their customer base and increase their bottom lines. He added that the reach of radio is unparalleled and are committed to making radio advertising more accessible, efficient, and effective for their clients, whether they are individuals, brands, or even agencies. The Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity concluded with an exciting awards ceremony, recognizing outstanding achievements in categories such as film, glass, the Lion for Change, Sustainable Development Goals, the Grand Prix for Good, and the Dan Wyden Titanium Lions. Simon Cook, CEO of Lions, applauded all winners and finalists for their exceptional creativity. In the Film Lions category, 53 awards were presented from 1,887 entries, including 9 gold, 16 silver, and 26 bronze. Among the highlights was Orange Women's Football by Marcel Paris, which won a Grand Prix for using deepfake technology to showcase the women's national football team's skills. Film Lions jury president Tom Myron from Apple Inc. praised the campaign as this year's most empowering idea in film. That was brand news. Next is branding focus after the break.
Don't worry, we'll talk later, yeah?
Buddy,
how far?
give me small spot, I beg. Make I play game, I beg.
Oh, yeah, now.
Thanks, G.
Yo, if I don't come out.
But the how far now? I got you.
Buddy, I beg, make I connect, I beg. I need to stream.
Mojaba.
What's that now?
Enjoy 100% data bonus with night data. Dial star 312 hash to enjoy.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data.
Glow Unlimited.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
Now on Branding Focus. The Picture Festival 2024, Africa's premier celebration of creativity in marketing, concluded with accolades highlighting groundbreaking campaigns and strategic brilliance in the advertising industry. This year's event, renowned for showcasing the best in advertising thinking across Africa, emphasized innovation and cultural insights as key drivers of success. Denso Creative Nigeria emerged as the Advertising Agency of the Year, while Karat secured the titles of Africa Media Network of the Year and Africa Advertising Agency Network of the Year. PhD Nigeria claimed Media Agency of the Year, along with multiple Grand Prix and Gold Picture Awards. Among the standout campaigns, Denso Creative Nigeria received 2 Grand Prix awards for their impactful Reclaim Your DNA campaign for AB InBev Trophy Extra Special Stout, recognizing its exceptional use of media and cultural insights. Denso Kenya also excelled with 2 Grand Prix awards for their digital prowess in campaigns like Give a Generous Voice to Storytime for Cadbury. A total of 25 gold awards celebrated outstanding contributions from agencies including Denso South Africa, Karat Nigeria, and Shape History UK, amongst others. The awards underscored the industry's commitment to pushing creative boundaries and delivering campaigns that resonate deeply with audiences. The jury, comprising esteemed members from across Africa and beyond, diligently evaluated submissions to ensure only the most innovative and impactful campaigns received recognition. The event not only honored creativity but also set a benchmark for future advertising excellence in Africa and globally. As the advertising landscape continues to evolve, agencies and practitioners are poised to draw inspiration from the winning strategies showcased at the Picture Awards 2024, aiming to integrate new thinking and creative approaches in their upcoming campaigns. Welcome back. Next is Industry Conversation, where we have discussions with industry thought leaders. My guest today is a creative and marketing genius. Join me after the break.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
Welcome back to Industry Conversation. My guest today is the Group Managing Director of SO&U, Mr. UDEME UFOT. Glad to have you join us again on the program.
Thank you, Buki. Good to see you again.
All right. So let's talk about the marketing landscape. Now, what are some of the noticeable dynamics or shifts that you have observed making waves, in the marketing landscape?
We live in a rapidly transforming world,
Okay.
and the marketing communication space has not been immune to those transformations. Today, we have a world without media borders, where marketers can engage with consumers from anywhere and engage consumers anywhere from anywhere. We have a system where media is not as we used to know it, where in fact these days even individuals, personalities are media by themselves. So the kind of media that we used to know has also changed. We also have practitioners who are not exactly as we used to know them. In the same way, accordingly, agencies are not exactly what we used to know. And as we move forward, you also have a situation where artificial intelligence is coming to play. We did not know for sure how far it will go, but what we thought was just a matter of grappling with digital platforms. We now have AI to contend with. So what I see is that it's now a world where you must have very dynamic practitioners, where you need to have very smart people, exposed, educated, and who are prepared to embrace technology to optimize the performance of their brands, to optimize the performance of their communication activities. So it's a rapidly transforming world, and agencies must therefore be prepared to transform along with these changes that the industry is experiencing. One thing I can tell you for sure is that we've gone past that era of having traditional agencies and digital agencies. What we have today is a convergence. The digital space and the traditional are converging, and any agency today that wants to lay claim that it is purely a digital agency is at risk. In the same vein, any agency that remains firmly rooted in traditional agency practice is also at risk. What the world needs today is a convergence between digital and traditional. And I can tell you for one, that there's hardly any campaign that SYU goes into these days without bringing together the various platforms and disciplines that have to do with traditional and digital.
Wow, great. Okay, so let's also look at the Nigerian advertising space. Now, how much growth would you say the Nigerian advertising space has garnered over the years? Has it really grown?
I mean, you cannot say the industry has not grown. I don't have the figures right away. But you need to understand that even in the face of that growth, you find the challenge of inflation, the challenge of devaluation of our currency. And so what would be considered as a billion naira, barely 2 years ago, has witnessed in real time, or in financial exchange terms, probably become $400 million. So the challenge we therefore face is that we have a challenging economic situation where in numbers, the market has shrunken. But in real terms, activity has grown. Agents have been more active. There are new players coming at different levels. And of course, the key marketers still expand their budgets. But one thing you must also note is that those budgets may not be seen in the traditional space. There's more of activations going on. There's more of digital engagements going on.
Great. So let's briefly talk about FMCGs. Do you see FMCGs, shifting from mass brand to niche brand?
I will say to you that they're already shifting. The challenges of the marketing environment, the tightness of the budgets, the kind of accountability being demanded of marketing directors will inform the need to be more focused on what delivers the most optimum in the budget. I'm sure if you scan, you will discover that in the last 2 years or so, you may not see the kind of broad campaigns by FMCGs we used to see 5, not mentioned 10 years ago. The brands are becoming more focused, and activations and BTL activity is becoming the order of the day. So what I see here is that when you add that to the current situation, that especially the multinational marketers are facing, with the kind of reports we've heard about their financials in the last year caused by the Naira devaluation, it will take a while, maybe the next 2 years, for us to begin to see strong investments, except for the very strong FMCG marketers. It may be difficult to begin to see the kind of budgets we used to see in driving wholesale advertising. So there'll be more of the niche because the marketing director must deliver accountability. And engaging the consumer one-on-one is more like the way to go, that you can be accountable for it.
How can professionals, how can they re-image branding in the face or in the age of tech?
Well, I mean, technology is there to make you better, to make you faster, to make you more effective. And the first step is for marketing communicators to embrace technology. In embracing technology, they need to understand the technology, what it can do for them, and the creative ways they can use it to optimize their performance. So I believe that there's a strong need for us to understand what is before us, because things, I mean, if we even look at the very basic levels, what internet alone at the most basic level has done for businesses, what it has done for advertising. A few years ago, we need to deliver CDs, we need to deliver disk drives to media houses to run our campaigns. But today you can conclude the work, whether it's a print communication, whether it's television, video to any platform. You can finish the work now and at the click of a button on your laptop, send it to anywhere in the world for deployment. I still recall when we ran certain campaigns and people had to stand by to fly to Maiduguri to deliver campaign materials for a campaign. So if you consider the basic changes, now imagine the era of higher levels of technology, how that can transform the industry. I think a very interesting world awaits us, and what we must do as marketing communicators is just stretch out our hands and embrace by understanding what it can do for us and how we can use it effectively.
Okay, so still talking about storytelling and, communication. Now, each season we see advertising messages receiving backlash for one reason or the other. Now, how can professionals mitigate against this seasonal trend?
The approach to communication must go by certain principles. Telling the truth, being guided by certain levels of morality that will not offend the audience that will receive the communication. So an ARCON by its ASP has rules for mitigating that. But the truth also remains that safe advertising never cut through the clutter. Communicators, especially in creative advertising, must be prepared to push the envelope a bit. But of course, within the decency of what will not offend the public. Advertising in itself is in a way cultural, because communication is cultural. We know the things that are acceptable to our society. And so therefore, when you want to communicate, you must communicate within the framework of what our society holds dear. Those values that we have as a people must be respected in our communicators. That is why major advertisers, for instance, when they create communication, they are sometimes fair enough or objective enough to say, look, for certain parts of the country where there's a lot more, acceptance of Western values, certain kinds of communications are deployed for the brand. But for the same brand, we have to go to those parts of the country where the cultural and legal sensitivities are very critical. Different adaptations of the same work are being created to reflect the values of the societies. It's about respecting ourselves as a people, respecting our differences. And so it's important, therefore, that in crafting communication, those who know the people, who know, because they're part of the people, what is offensive, are given the opportunity to create those communications. And that's part of the reason why ARCON in its new laws has put certain things in place to ensure that productions are conceptualized and produced by Nigerians for Nigerians as much as possible.
That's so good to know. Now, so I was going to ask, is the death of brands the cause of intense rivalry amongst agencies within the ecosystem? Do you think that's a cause?
I think it's a double-edged sword. We certainly could use more of the big brands. I recall an industry colleague I once lamented, and it was even before the entry of AB InBev, said, look at the brewery market. If you took out Nigerian breweries, took out Guinness, the rest of the players in that sector were a bunch of mushroom operators. And you can see that over the years, apart from AB InBev coming in to become the third heavy contender, the other big players have actually mopped up the small players. So we have a very narrow brewing market. If you look at other FMCGs, how many people are producing, beverages or family cereals in the country? So they're all imported stuff. And what that does is that it offers for us a very shallow market. So even when you want to distribute the brands within one big FMCG player. How many agencies have the opportunity to play there? But be that as it may, that should be an issue. I think the entire economy itself needs to be more sophisticated. Advertising thrives in a high commerce, highly sophisticated marketing environment. So maybe part of the depth of opportunities has to be linked to the fact that our economy is not that sophisticated. And let's even start from the government itself. In other markets, like in the UK, the biggest advertiser is the government. If the government were to structure its communications and place those communications in the hands of communications professionals, you do not believe the kind of impact, the kind of boost that would give to marketing comes in Nigeria. But for now, government will prefer to do these things at best, hiring foreign professionals or a bunch of guys with their briefcases who claim to be marketing or PR professionals. That's what they use. If you sat down to calculate the kind of budgets that are being spent in these not so professional approaches, you'll be amazed. That itself will be one area of empowerment for the mass comms industry. But let's also even go beyond government. How sophisticated are the average entrepreneurs and businesses in Nigeria? Do they really believe that they need marketing communications? So we need to grow in sophistication. We need to grow in numbers also. But I do believe that what we have at the moment can offer marketing communicators much more than what we are getting now. Anywhere in the world, even when or if there are more clients available, more breweries, more telcos, more CSD manufacturers with lots of money, there will still be competition. Something I learned very early, that everybody will jostle to want to work with the top 3 or number one player in any sector. In a typical kind of business, you cannot be the number 1 player in your industry if your client is not number 1 in his own industry. You cannot hope to build the most sophisticated, the biggest agency when your cluster of clients are actually marketers who are probably top 10 or top 20 in their markets. They won't have the budgets, they won't have other resources that will offer you the opportunities and the challenges to excel and grow your business. So what will happen at the end of the day? Even if there are 100 brewers in Nigeria, there will still be stiff competition by the top agencies to want to work for the very biggest brands in that market. That's how they're going to grow. And it applies in other sectors too. If it's about CSDs, who's the biggest spender in CSD? Everybody wants to work for that. If it's about telcos, who's the biggest spender in telcos? Why play in the telco market and you work for a client who will probably in a year spend $500 million naira, when there are clients in the same sector spend 10, 20 billion naira on the advertising? It's only a natural that the smart, aggressive, ambitious agents will want to get a piece of that big spender. And there will come the jostle, the competition, sometimes vicious, sometimes friendly, but all we must continue to do to be guided by professional ethics that will pursue what we want, but within the guidelines of responsible advertising practice.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
And that's the much we can take on this week's episode of Marketing Edge on TV. Join us same time next week for the concluding part of our conversation with the Managing Director of SONU, Mr. UDEME UFOT. I am Oluwabukola Omoniyi. Bye for now.